Hello guys, this is Aaron here. I said I was going to predict the college football bowl games this year, and I'm going to start with the very first one today. It's going to be on the 21st of December. It's the Gildan New Mexico Bowl. It's between the Washington State Cougars and the Colorado State Rams. Now I'm going to do this very simply. I'm going to go through each team, figure out what they did, kind of give you a recap of their season, tell you what to look for going into it, and then I'm just going to predict it. It's pretty easy, pretty simple, whatever. So let's start with the Washington State Cougars. These guys play in the Pac-12, haven't made a bowl game in a while, but they managed to sneak in this year going 6-6. Now, their season was kind of hit and miss. They didn't win a lot of big games. They got rolled by Stanford. They got beat big by Oregon State. They got rolled by Oregon and Arizona State, and they lost a decently played game to Washington. But in the year, they also had a few good moments. They were the first team to upset USC 10-7 actually at USC. That was one of their biggest wins in a long time. They were able to also beat Arizona, who made a bowl game 24-7 late in the year, also in an away game. Kind of surprising. And it didn't seem like anything at the time, but they also got beat by Auburn at Auburn only by a score of 31-24. They played them all the way up to the end when a turnover cost them. Honestly, they had a pretty good year. They have the tendency to play really tough, and they're just missing a little something that keeps them from being with the best in the Pac-12. A big thing to look for with them is their air raid passing. They average 364 yards a game, fourth in the nation passing. It's just ridiculous. And they're also all passing. They live or die by it. They only average a little under 60 yards a game rushing. That's 123rd, which is, I think, last. I don't remember exactly how many football teams there are in D1, but it's close. They put up about 30 points a game. That's kind of pedestrian, kind of average. And they also give up about 31. So they actually have given up more yards than they've scored, or more points than they've scored on the year. But you have to consider also they played games against Stanford, Oregon, Oregon State, and Arizona State, and other teams that really ran it up on them. Outside of those games, they really looked pretty solid. Now going to Colorado State, these guys are out in the Mountain West Conference. They kind of snuck into the bowl game this year. In a weird turn of events, they played 13 games. Most football teams only play 12. And the Mountain West Conference, for those that don't know, has 6 bowl tie-ins. They had 7 teams that were bowl eligible, so one team had to miss it. And a lot of people thought it was going to be Colorado State. But actually, ironically, a team they lost to at home, San Jose State, actually they beat out for this bowl game slot. So, sorry for the San Jose State fans. I know it's not really fair, but what are you going to do about it? To sum up Colorado State's season, it was kind of average, subpar. They scraped by, made bowl eligibility. They don't have any big wins. I mean, they don't really play a lot of big teams to begin with in that conference. They lost by 12 to Boise State. They got blanked 13-0 by Utah State. Their biggest game of the year was actually an early season game at Alabama. Alabama beat them 31-6, but it was like a 2-possession game clear up to the fourth quarter. So their defense at least kept them alive, kept them in it, and made it interesting. I mean, like I said, they got beat by the team they beat out for a bowl game, San Jose State, 34-27. They beat Wyoming, which almost made a bowl game, 52-22. Ironically, the place this bowl game is played at is Albuquerque, New Mexico, at the University of New Mexico, and they've already played there this year. They beat New Mexico there 66-42 in a shootout. Going into this, the big thing to watch Colorado State is their mixed offense. They like to mix it up. They're pretty balanced. They average 260 yards-ish passing and a little over 200 rushing, actually. Both are in the top 40 in the nation. Their offense is very balanced, very solid. They score about 35 points a game, which is top 30 in the nation, but they also give up about 29, which is about 80th in the nation. So they usually outscore their opponents. It's usually a fairly close game when win or lose, outside of a couple double possession wins, one big win over Wyoming, and a huge 58-13 rout of Air Force that kind of skewed their point total at the end of the season. Going into this game, I would expect a lot of offensive fireworks. Both teams put up a lot of yards, over 400 a game on average. Both teams get a decent amount of points, 30-35. I would look for Washington State to really air it out and Colorado State to do everything they can to stop it. I think Colorado State may focus a little more on the run than the pass. And also for Colorado State to work best, they're going to have to go pretty up-tempo because Washington State, as I've shown by some other point totals, has struggled against up-tempo offenses. Like Oregon put up 62 on them. So they're definitely susceptible to fast-paced offenses, and the slower-paced teams actually usually get a decent ball game from them. So overall, I think that Colorado State's really going to have to work to stay in this, and unless they can shut Washington State down, I just don't see it happening. I think Washington State is going to come out strong. They're going to come up big early on, and I think they're going to be able to hold on down the stretch. I think Colorado State will definitely give them a ball game, though. And if I had to make a prediction for this game, I would say the final score is going to be something around 31-24 Washington State. I think the Cougars are going to bring home the first bowl game of the year, the Gildan New Mexico Bowl.